myself Mrs. Zadge SR from HGM College Karad. In last lecture we have studied water pollution. What are the different sources of water pollution and what are the different effects of water pollution, and related that we have already studied the aquatic weed Eichhornia, which is also called as the terror of Bengal, which is causing very harmful effect in the water and aquatic plants or aquatic life. And we have also seen the algal bloom. Related to that, again the different effects of water pollution are we are seeing. Out of that, some are we are discussing in today's lecture. The first effect of this water pollution that we will see, that is natural eutrophication. So here natural eutrophication, that is taking place by the nature or the natural factors. What does mean by eutrophication? Eutrophication means aging. वय होणे आपण त्याला मराठीमध्ये म्हणू शकतो. So here natural eutrophication means it is natural aging of lake. Natural aging of lake. Aging of lake means the lake which is having very high amount of nutrients in water, then there will be natural aging of the lake, and the lake is not showing pure water or the water to be consumed by the organisms, and therefore we can call it as a natural aging of lake. And this aging of lake which is carried out by the natural factors, that is called as a natural eutrophication. For the natural eutrophication of the lake, it requires thousands of years. Means for natural eutrophication, 1000 years are required. But nowadays, due to water pollution and the different parts or the different particles which are coming from different human activities or coming from different industries, different factories, different mills, different particles or different materials are coming in the water body, and those water when contaminates the lake water, that lake should show the eutrophication in very fast rate. So here we can say, due to the water pollutants, that is from human activities or from different industries or different factories or different mills, the eutrophication process which is taking place at that lake, it is very fastly, and therefore that eutrophication is called as a cultural eutrophication or accelerated eutrophication. Cultural or accelerated eutrophication means what we see here. The aging of lake takes place due to the water pollutants. Water pollutants are responsible for aging of lake. Due to different water pollutants which are present in lake, and due to these water pollutants, the aging process of lake getting accelerated, that is the aging process is taking fast, and therefore due to human activities and due to water pollution, this eutrophication is getting accelerated, or you can say it is very fastly taking place, and therefore it is called as a cultural or accelerated eutrophication. And here we can see different steps of this cultural eutrophication. So first step is polluted water in lake. Here polluted water which is colored turbid and bad smell, that means that water is polluted. And in that polluted water, here due to growth of the microorganisms, there is death of fishes and other aquatic life. dissolved O2. Reduction in dissolved O2. And due to the reduction in dissolved O2, there is increase in organic matter in water. Increase in organic matter. And then you can observe there is a death of submerged plants. Death of submerged plants which are present in that lake, and therefore there is nutrient enrichment in water takes place. Nutrient enrichment takes place, and that is called as the aging of lake. So here these are different steps which are related to cultural or accelerated eutrophication. First of all, we have to see when the water is getting polluted in the lake, and this water is where its colored, is turbid, it is having bad smell, and due to this water pollution, this turbid water, bad water, the death of fishes and other aquatic animals takes place in that water. And for the decomposition of these fishes and aquatic organisms, there will be decomposing microorganisms which are present in water, and these microorganisms are using the dissolved oxygen which is present in water, and therefore there will be reduction in dissolved O2 by decomposing bacteria, and therefore there is increase in organic matter in water, and it affects the death of submerged plants which are present in that water, and therefore there is enrichment of water, and ultimately the acceleration of the lake will be takes place, and that is called as a eutrophication, and it is carried by the polluted water which is made by the human activities, and therefore it is called as a cultural or accelerated eutrophication. So here, due to this eutrophication, what happens? There is very less amount of O2 or not availability of oxygen in water. These are the effects of this cultural eutrophication. There is no availability of dissolved O2 in water, and therefore it leads to death of fishes and other aquatic animals. So here we can see this is very hazardous effect which is causing in this aquatic life due to the eutrophication, and therefore the different types of organisms which are present in water are getting dead, and again there is a decomposition of these fishes and aquatic animals, and again O2 concentration in the water is going on decreasing. So here, due to the water pollution, the first effect we have observed that there is formation of algal bloom, there is formation of different aquatic weeds, there is also formation of this eutrophication process which is aging of lake by the natural activities, or sorry, by the human activities. So here this is the first point of today's lecture. Natural eutrophication means what, and how the human activities are responsible for this eutrophication, which is called as a cultural eutrophication or accelerated eutrophication. Okay, then we have to see the next point, that is called as a biomagnification. So here the next point is biomagnification. biological magnification. So here we can study what is the term biomagnification. It is the phenomenon through which certain pollutants are getting accumulated in the tissues of organisms in increasing concentration along the food chain. So here I can write the definition. It is phenomenon. It is a phenomenon through which certain pollutants get accumulated in tissues, in higher concentration in along the food chain, and that process is called as a biomagnification. Means here we can see there are different pesticides or there are different insecticides, different chemicals which are used in crop fields, and many of them are non-biodegradable. Means decomposition of those pesticides is not taking place and they are remain as it is in the environment, and through food chain it is getting accumulated in the body of that organism and it is transported from lower trophic level to higher trophic level through the food chain, and therefore at the highest trophic level we have to see the more accumulation of this pollutant in high concentration, and that is called as the biomagnification or biological magnification. See here what happens. We can study the example of DDT magnification. Here it is particularly seen in DDT and mercury. In case of DDT and mercury, we can observe the biomagnification or biological magnification. Here we have to see the example DDT biomagnification. So in this example we have studied in water, suppose the percentage of DDT is 0.003%. Here we can see this is water, it is having 0.000 here 3 ppm of DDT present in water, and suppose in that water number of zooplanktons are growing. So these are the zooplanktons which are depend on this water, and due to accumulation of the water which is consisting of this amount of DDT, the zooplanktons were grown, and when we are calculating the amount of DDT in the zooplankton, these are showing 0.04 ppm DDT. Then the zooplanktons are eaten by some small fishes here. Small fishes. These small fishes are feeding on these zooplankton, and therefore the small fishes are getting accumulation of DDT, and in small fishes we can observe there is 0.5 ppm of DDT concentration, and when the large fishes eating these small fishes here, these large fishes are showing 2 ppm DDT, and the birds eating large fishes, those birds are showing here 25 ppm of DDT. So here you can see this is a food chain. You can see here this is a food chain. This is the producer. Sorry, this is the water. These are first trophic level, this second trophic level, this third trophic level, and this fourth trophic level. The percentage of DDT in water is very much low or very minute. Here you can see DDT point not 3 parts per million of DDT is present in water. And if this water is used up by the zooplankton, the amount of DDT getting accumulated in a single zooplankton is 0.04 parts per million of DDT. And suppose the number of zooplanktons are eaten by the small fishes, or the small fishes are eating many zooplanktons, the amount of DDT in small fishes will be increasing. It is up to 0.5 parts per million. And when large fishes are feeding on these small fishes, the percentage of DDT is increasing here 2 parts per million. And the birds which are eating these large fishes, we can observe it, the birds are eating so many large fishes, and therefore the percentage of DDT here we can observe that is 25 parts per million. And it is called as a DDT accumulation, because in each trophic level there will be accumulation of DDT, and therefore at the highest trophic level we are there observing the highest concentration of DDT which is getting accumulated through this food chain. And therefore this phenomenon is called as a certain pollutants get accumulated in tissues in higher concentration along the food chain. This process is called as a biomagnification, or we can call it as a biological magnification. So different pollutants which are present in very small amount in water, but through food chain the higher trophic level organisms are showing very high accumulation, and it may result hazardous effect or harmful effect in the birds. Here we can see the birds having higher concentration of DDT are showing premature birth of the babies of the bird, and the egg shell which is having the bird, that egg shell is very thin, and therefore there will be no proper growth of the baby bird inside the egg, and there will be loss of baby of these birds, and there will be loss of the species may get takes place due to this biomagnification. Therefore it is very harmful effect of the water pollution. That means the different pollutants are getting accumulated in higher concentration along the food chain. This is one example of DDT accumulation. Similarly, there is mercury accumulation or any other water pollutants are increasing in the food chain. So it is about the biomagnification. Now the next point is our discussion is thermal pollution. It's very short point, thermal pollution. Thermal pollution means what? It is rise in temperature due to some different pollutants which are present in water, and therefore there will be rise in temperature of water, and it is called as a thermal pollution. So here we can write rise in water temperature, that is called as a thermal pollution. Now what are the sources of thermal pollution? As we know, there are different thermal power plants, thermal power plants, and from these industries or from these factories they are using water for their procedure or for their mechanism, and they are using as a cooled water, but they are releasing hot water in the water bodies. म्हणजे वापरताना ते थंड पाणी वापरतात, पण बाहेर पडताना मात्र काय केलं जातं, गरम पाणी बाहेर टाकलं जातं. And due to this hot water, the temperature of the water body is suddenly increases, and which is very hazardous to the different plants and animals which are present in the water, that we called as a flora and fauna which is present in water. So here rise in water temperature, there is effect on thermal pollution is also responsible for the effect to the plants and animals. So here we can discussing about the biomagnification and thermal pollution. Now in this water pollution, the main water pollution is taking place due to the sewage water, and therefore to control the water pollution, first we have to control the sewage which is present in the water. So how to control or how to reduce the sewage which is coming in the water, and here we have to see the different control measures for the reducing of sewage which is coming in the water. So our next point of discussion is measures to reduce the sewage water. Measures to reduce sewage in water. So here one system is used for this reducing sewage, that is EcoSan system. It is also called as ecological sanitation. Ecological sanitation, sanitation म्हणजे स्वच्छता म्हणतो आपण मराठीमध्ये. So here this EcoSan system, it is done for handling the human excreta using dry composting type toilet. So here this EcoSan system is for human excreta and it uses dry composting toilets. So this is particularly made to handle the human excreta, because the domestic sewage which is coming from the cities, it is mainly consisting of the human excreta, that is the water coming from the toilets of offices, homes, hospitals, restaurants, etc. So first of all we have to reduce the human excreta which is coming in the water. So here for the handling of human excreta we have to use dry composting toilet, and this is the principle which is used by this EcoSan system or this ecological system sanitation, that is they are using a dry composting toilet for handling the human excreta. It is practical and it is efficient and it is cost effective solution for human waste disposal. So here what is the principle? Here we can see. So the principle is here recovery and recycling of the human excreta is done and it is converted into a available very much useful manure. So what is the system? Here this EcoSan system, here we can see it is a closed system. It is a closed system which is not requiring water. As day to day we are using the toilet which is present in our house, we use water in that. But here the toilets which are using here in this EcoSan system, these toilets are a closed system and there is no need of water, and therefore these EcoSan toilets are used in that area where the water scarcity is more, म्हणजे पाण्याची कमतरता आहे अशा ठिकाणी, or there may be chance of groundwater contamination due to the normal toilets we are using with water. So here the area which is having very less amount of water, that is water scarcity is present, or there may be chances of groundwater contamination. So to avoid both these problems, the closed system of this toilet, that is called as EcoSan toilet, which is used and it is very much efficient, and this is practical process which have been used in different states in our India. We can see examples afterwards. So here the recovery and recycling of nutrients from excreta to create a valuable manure can be done by using these EcoSan toilets. So here what happens, a closed system is present, this EcoSan toilet, consists of closed system, no water, and after filling of this toilet, it is closed, means there is a pit, ते खड्डा असतो त्याच्यामध्ये ह्यूमन एक्सक्रीटा टाकला जातो and that should be filled, and after filling it is closed and sealed. It is closed and sealed. So after filling that Ecosan toilet, it is closed and it is sealed, and after 8 to 9 months, the feces present in that toilet, it get converted into manure, which is used in agriculture. So here human excreta is converted into manure. Feces is converted into manure and it is used in the agriculture as a fertilizer. So here we can use this method to avoid the sewage water contamination in our natural water bodies, and therefore this method is used to reduce the sewage in water, because due to contamination of the sewage in water there are different harmful effects we have seen in the last lecture. So here this Ecosan toilet is very much useful for this reducing the sewage in water, and this Ecosan toilet we are seeing the examples of this Ecosan toilet in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, and here we can see these toilets are also present in Gujarat and Sri Lanka. So there are different countries or states in our India which are using this technique that is called as a Ecosan system, and it is reducing the sewage water. Now the second method here we can use to get the water which is purified by the technique which is called as a reverse osmosis. So here if the water is contaminated and having different pollutants, then we can use here second technique, that is reverse osmosis. As you know, in our home we can using the reverse osmosis mechanism for purification of water. So here recycling of sewage can be done with the help of reverse osmosis. Here one example is given in our book, that is the example of Tirumala Hills. Tirumala Hills. In this Tirumala Hills, every building has this RO system, and therefore the recycling of the sewage water can be done, and the water problem will be solved with this help of this reverse osmosis. So here we can remember this example. Reverse osmosis is done in Tirumala Hills. And the again third process here, rainwater harvesting. This is the best method to get the water, rainwater harvesting. The water which is coming from rain, that should be harvested and it is used for different purposes. Therefore nowadays it is compulsory, that means it is mandatory for new construction by the municipal corporation. म्हणजे जेव्हा आपल्याला बांधकाम करायचं असतं त्यावेळेला आताच्या काळामध्ये जेव्हा तुम्ही नगरपालिकेकडनं किंवा महानगरपालिकेकडनं परवानगी घेता त्यावेळेला कंपल्सरी आपल्या बिल्डिंगला रेन हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टीम आपल्याला उभी करावीच लागते, त्याच्याशिवाय आपल्याला परमिशन मिळत नाही. सो हियर फॉर गेटिंग मोर वॉटर अँड द रेन वॉटर इज गेटिंग हार्वेस्टेड विथ दिस न्यू construction which is compulsorily or it is mandatory by the municipal corporation. So here we can see how this sewage water is recycled, and these are the different methods which are used: Ecosan system, reverse osmosis and rainwater harvesting. So today's lecture we have seen eutrophication, biomagnification and different measures to reduce the sewage water. The remaining points we are going to see in the next lecture. Thank you.